my name's Claire and this is Stitchem, so thank you so much for joining me today for another video. Now today's video is a really exciting one for me. It's the reveal of the Charlie Caftan. Now this is a project that I've been doing as a collaboration with the fantastic Rachael from the French Seams. I've had such fun working with her on this pattern and in the sort of build up to deciding which pattern we were going to do. We started speaking about it about a month before we decided on the pattern, and I think we both went down a little bit of a rabbit hole deciding which pattern we were going to go for, and because there's just so many lovely gorgeous versions out there. Rachel and I have got quite similar taste, albeit obviously we've got different body shapes, but our tastes are quite similar. We're quite a similar age, our lifestyles are quite similar in lots of ways. We've both got young children, etc., and I think we've got quite similar taste in fabric and things as well. So I knew that working with her would be fantastic, but it is just, you know, it's just been brilliant. So thank you so much, Rachel, for agreeing to do the collaboration. It's just been brilliant. So the pattern that we chose was the Charlie Caftan by Closet Core Patterns, and this is actually the first pattern that I've sewn up from Closet Core Patterns. So from that point of view, I was really pleased that we'd chosen that particular pattern, because I hadn't sewn one of their patterns before, and I always like to try out a new pattern designer. Now this particular pattern has been doing the rounds for a good few years now. It's very popular in the sewing community. There's lots and lots of versions if you look up the hashtag on Instagram, and so I was really excited to, well, once we decided that this was the pattern, to get my fabric chosen and to sew it up. So I'm just going to go into a few details about the pattern, and then I'll talk about my thoughts and feelings on my version, etc. So I really hope you'll stick with me with the video and that you'll enjoy it. But before I do that, I've just got a very small little video from the lovely Rachael, and I'll just pop that in now.
Hi everyone, my name is Rachael and this is my finished Charlie Caftan dress. A huge thank you goes out to Clare for asking me to be involved in this collaboration. I had such a lovely time making this dress and I'm just delighted with the result, and it was also really nice to get to know Clare a little bit better, so hopefully we can do another collaboration again soon. I have a video over on my channel, The French Seams, where I go into more detail about the construction of this dress and any alterations I made, so I'd be delighted if you join me over there. But in the meantime, I'll hand you back to Clare and she can go into more detail about her beautiful dress. Bye now.
So there you have the little clip of Rachael and her lovely fantastic version of the Charlie Caftan. I think it's quite funny, the fabric choices that we've made are really quite similar. As I say, we do have quite similar tastes, so, and I think you'll agree that she just looks absolutely gorgeous in her version. So let's crack on with some of the details in relation to the pattern. Now the Closet Core Patterns, in particular the Charlie Caftan, it comes in the two different size ranges. So there's their kind of their regular version, and then they've got their sort of larger size bandings. I don't know whether they call it the curve or not, or the curvy range, but I went for the larger size range, and I'm going to pop some details up on the screen of the two different size ranges, and as I say, I went for the larger size range. So the size range even, I always say that, size range that I went for was the from 14 to 32. So, and as I say, I'll pop those details up on the screen because I don't think I necessarily need to go into those. I graded between a size 16 at the bust and a 20 at the hips, waist and hips. So just a little bit of grading there. I had the PDF pattern, I printed it all off and pieced it all together. I had thought about sending it off to the copy shop because it is quite a large pattern to piece together, but I just hadn't quite got my act together and I wanted to get going on it. So I decided that I would take the time to piece it all together, and so that's what I did. And actually, once you get going, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be, is it? So yeah, that worked out quite well. I meant to do some alterations to the pattern, but I didn't actually do those in the end largely because I forgot, but actually that's all worked out quite well. So the only alterations that I did was to grade between the 16 at the bust to a 20 at the waist and hips. So and that has worked out really quite well. Now, in terms of the pattern itself, I really enjoyed sewing up this particular pattern. There was some interesting details in relation to sewing it up that I've never sort of done before. This sort of waistband here, and I'll try and pop a bigger picture up on the screen for you so it's a little bit easier to see, but this particular sort of waistband, there's like a funny shaped piece that you use to kind of create the front pattern piece, and then you've obviously got the waistband bit that you have to put in, and there's some gathering and things. Now that bit, I'm not going to lie, is quite fiddly, and I think I did okay. It's not the best, it's probably not the neatest, but this is a busy print and I think I've got away with it. I think you'd have to be pretty close to really kind of notice anything that I've done wrong on it. Or not gone wrong, but not quite precise enough on it. And if you're that close, then stand back because you're too close. So all in all, I think that's pretty good. So there are 3 options for the Charlie Caftan. There is a sort of short version here that's got a pleated front, and this would work really well in a slightly stiffer fabric, a heavier weight fabric like a linen or a cotton, or something that has kind of got a bit of form to it. That would work really nicely. There's then one of a similar length, but it has got a gathered front, and then there is a third version that has got a gathered front, and you can add ties to the waist. So on the back, you can see on the back of that one there's a tie, and the maxi version has side splits. So now, in terms of the version that I've gone for the tie-waisted front, but I haven't gone the full maxi. I've gone for a version that comes just under my knee, and I'll pop a picture in of me wearing it. Now, I had 3 meters of this fabric, and this fabric is from Rainbow Fabrics and is a beautiful viscose fabric. It's been quite popular. I think First for Fabrics were also selling it, and a few other places as well. And I fell in love with the print. I just thought it was beautiful. I love the fact that it's a sort of a ditzy floral, but I love the fact that it's got the strawberries on as well, but on the black base. Obviously this is quite a summery make in terms of style, but I think the fact that it's on a black base, I'm probably going to be able to pair it with in the sort of autumn months with some black tights and boots and things, and sort of layer it up either with a cardigan or perhaps with a long sleeved sort of turtleneck underneath or something along those lines. Haven't quite thought it through fully in terms of styling, but I'm hoping that I'll be able to wear it through the colder months, as well as obviously the warmer months as well. But hopefully we'll have a few more sunny days that I can wear it as is over the next few days of August and into September. And sometimes we do have quite a warm September in the UK, so fingers crossed, and I will be able to wear the version still. So as I say, I've gone for the sort of third option, but not at the maxi length style. I've chopped it off at the knee. I think I would have had just about enough fabric with the 3 meters. I think the measurements say that you need slightly more than 3 meters, but I definitely, if I wanted to, I could have got it out. But I decided obviously that I was going to chop it off the knee. So I have got, I don't know, between half a metre and just over half a metre, I would say, of this fabric left. So I don't know what I'll make with that. maybe I will just make some bias binding or something that I can use in the future with it. I don't really know. I'll find something eventually to use for it. Yeah, in terms of fabric requirements, for view C it would have been 3.2. So yeah, I would have been able to just about squeeze it out with a little bit of pattern texturous if I wanted to. So I normally would add length to a bodice of any garments that I tend to make, because I'm about 5'8", 5'9", and I'm quite long in the torso, and so I normally add at least an inch or so to most makes in terms of bodice, sometimes 2, but this time I just completely and utterly forgot to do that. So actually the where the waistband sits on me comes just under my bust line, so it kind of makes it more kind of empire line-ish, I guess. Is that word, empire line-ish? But actually I really like how it looks on me. It feels really comfortable, and so I'm not too bothered that that's where it falls on me. In fact, I might do the same again if I was to make the pattern again, which I think I will do in the future. I definitely, in fact I will in the summer, next summer, I would like to make this pattern again, because I'd really like to have another attempt at the waistband on this to really kind of get that really crisp and neat and precise. I probably should have done just a little toile, even if it was just of kind of that section of the pattern, just to really get that down before I made my actual version. But as I say, the print is busy enough for it not to really notice that it's not quite precise and perfection. But the perfectionist in me doesn't quite like how I've done it, but it's fine and nobody will know. In the next little bit of video clip you will see me sewing up my Charlie Caftan, and I admitted the pockets on this one. That's not something I would usually do, but I tried on the dress before sewing up the seams and sort of wrap the tie section around me, and I decided I thought that it would slightly ruin the line of the dress adding the pockets, and whilst I do love a pocket, obviously they would be made from viscose, so you can't really put much in them anyway, so I decided on this occasion that I would omit the pockets. So I've really enjoyed making this pattern. I found the instructions overall pretty good. I wouldn't say they are quite as clear as perhaps Tilly and the Buttons or Friday Pattern Company or Helen's Closet, who really hold your hand at every step of the way, but they are still pretty detailed instructions. One of the things that they do say right at the beginning of the pattern is to, how do they word it? They just say, this is in their kind of their prepping section, so to all exposed seams should be finished. If you don't have a serger, finish seams by pinking or zigzagging the raw edges or by sewing French seams. And they don't then go on through the pattern at each stage to kind of tell you to finish the seam. They just expect you to know which seams will be would end up being a raw edge, which wasn't a problem for me because I've sewn up quite a lot of garments now over the last sort of 2 years or so, and so that didn't really faze me. But I think if you were a new sewer, that this pattern is probably is a little bit too far down the line. I don't know what rating this is suggested that it is, but definitely this sort of panel at the front must make it at least an intermediate, I would have thought, or at least a advanced beginner. It must be an intermediate pattern, I think. I'm going to find that out and pop it up on the screen if I can. So I would definitely rate this pattern. I would definitely look to sew up more in the future. And what I have really enjoyed is working with Rachael on this, us deciding on what we were going to make, and having a little sort of chat over Zoom, and obviously we didn't just talk about this pattern, we spoke about all sorts of sewing related stuff. It was lovely, and I definitely hope that in the future we'll be able to collaborate again as well. So I think that's probably it from me today in terms of talking about the Charlie Caftan. I really hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, please do give me a like. If you haven't subscribed, I'd really love it if you would consider doing so. I hope you'll hop over and see Rachael's lovely make as well. I'm sure you're already following her. I'm sure you're already subscribers of her, but if you're not, please do go over and see Rachael, see her lovely makes, check out some of her other videos as well, because she's absolutely brilliant. She's such a joy to watch, and I really hope you've enjoyed my video and her video today. So anyway, I really hope you have a fantastic week in sewing. Take care, happy sewing, bye bye.